combined with the base shape of a samurai helmet. But here's the clincher for this one. In Return of the Jedi, when Luke removes Vader's mask, he reveals Vader's face. A face that's all burnt and disfigured. Well, wouldn't you know it, but in the Valerian comics, we also see under the masks of the Enlightened in Empire of a Thousand Planets. And what we see is this, a burnt and disfigured face. Enemy designs inspired by ancient Japanese aesthetics with helmets covering disfigured faces? Again, I'll leave it up to you to decide what's going on here. But even the biggest Star Wars supporters out there can clearly see that there are some strong similarities between Valerian and Star Wars. And the ones I pointed out don't even include more general examples, like the fact that both Star Wars Episode 2 and Valerian have a clone army, or that the Millennium Falcon is the same nice flat disc shape as Valerian's ship, the Intruder. The coloring, the shape, the texture, even the rear booster and ability to jump into hyperspace. So then what is our conclusion here? To say that Star Wars outright ripped off Valerian ignores all the innovative things unique to Star Wars. The Force, lightsabers, Death Star, Wookiees, Ewoks, Yoda, and on and on and on. Sure, the parallels don't make Star Wars look all that great, but it's not as though it copied Valerian word for word, concept for concept. It borrowed elements from other sources too. Remember when Luke returns home in A New Hope to find his aunt and uncle's farm has been torched? Yeah, well, Lucas has gone on record to say that that was inspired by a John Wayne movie called The Searchers from 1956. The attack on the Death Star at the end of A New Hope is even less ambiguously borrowed from a 1955 British World War II film called The Dam Busters. Instead of an X-Wing squadron going into a trench to fire on the Death Star's single weak spot, the Dam Busters has a squadron of fighter pilots flying low against a riverbed to fire on a single weak spot of the dam. And while that may not sound too similar on paper, if there's any question about whether one influenced the other, a side-by-side comparison shows that Lucas basically recreates the entire sequence shot for shot. And I mean it. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, I'm trying to be as neutral as possible here, and I know the Valerian people want me to stay as neutral as possible, but come on! It is literally shot for shot, angle for angle, scene by scene.
All wings report in.
Red 10 standing by.
I'm here, leader.
Red 3 standing by.
Here, leader.
Red 6 standing by.
Here, leader.
Red 2 standing by.
Here, leader.
Red 5 standing by.
Here, leader.
I'm going to cut across the axis and try and draw their fire.
I'll fly across the dam as you make your run and try and draw the flag off you.
Heck, there are even some who claim that Star Wars' overall plot is ripped off of a samurai movie by Akira Kurosawa called The Hidden Fortress. One of the most important people who claim that is George Lucas himself in the documentary The Making of Star Wars, when he says, quote, "Hidden Fortress was an influence on Star Wars right from the beginning. I was searching around for a story. I had some scenes, but I couldn't think of a basic plot. And then I thought of Hidden Fortress, which I'd seen in 1972 or 73. And so the first plots were very much like it." End quote. Now, I understand that some of this evidence can be interpreted in multiple ways, but when the founder of the franchise says he's trying to come up with a plot, remembers an old movie he saw, and then models the initial plot on that, it's kinda hard to deny. But hey, real talk here today, guys. I know that I gave Star Wars a really hard time in today's episode. I am a long-term lover of Star Wars, and I'm a new fan of Valerian. Both of these franchises are great, and to say that there was only one original would be pretty unfair. Sure, Star Wars may have borrowed from Valerian, but Valerian borrowed from Dune and the Samurai, even Buck Rogers. The plots for Valerian are really cool, but they're also the plots of stories like Doctor Who, which are also considered to be groundbreaking and original. The cynical among us might just say that this shows that there's nothing new and everything in sci-fi is ripping off someone else, but I prefer a more optimistic view. An optimistic view presented by one of the creators of Valerian and Laureline himself, Pierre Christin. When he saw Star Wars in 1977 and recognized, you know, a lot of the elements in it, he didn't sue anybody or even get mad. According to an interview in 2015, he said, quote, "I was thrilled. I instantly felt connected with Star Wars because of the number of intersections and parallels with our comic strips." And you know what? That's a pretty cool way of approaching it, because pretty much everything is a retelling of something. Whether it's The Lion King retelling Kimba the White Lion, which is retelling Hamlet, or The Matrix being a futuristic retelling of the Bible. Or, as Christin puts it in the same interview, that's how it goes in sci-fi. It's all about copying from one another. Or in other terms, you borrow something from someone else and develop it further. Star Wars may have carried a torch from Valerian, but that just means that there are now two sci-fi franchises that we can all enjoy. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. 'Tis the season of the Force, fa la 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 la. More Star Wars theories coming, of course, fa la 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 la. Hit subscribe to see them all, fa la 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 la. Coming out throughout the fall, fa la 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 la. And damn bust the button you see on screen to check out the economic ramifications of blowing up the Death Star. The Empire may not be as bad as you once thought. Next week, it's Rick and Morty time, so prepare to get swifty.